Hello everyone, this is Eagle Owl. I'm going to make this video on the topics of anxiety and depression. I'm kind of hoping that maybe someone will watch this video and in some way or another, if you're going through it, maybe it'll help you out. And if you're not going through it, or maybe you know someone who is, it might help you understand that person a little better. And then I'll kind of talk about my experiences too. Um, basically, like some people use the argument that they don't believe that anxiety or depression is real. A lot of times they say it's just a person searching for attention, and that's not true at all. It's not about attention at all. It's like these are actual conditions of the mind. They're actual medical conditions that do exist, and to someone who hasn't personally been through either one, it's easy just to say, well, why don't they just get over it? People will say, why don't you put on your big boy pants? Or why don't you just be thankful what you have? And they think just giving these one-liners about, well, you need to be thankful about what you have, or, you got your health, or, they think they can just quote something positive, and then you'll hear that one positive thing, and you'll be like, oh, well, you should just be thankful. You should be okay. And what they don't understand is when you have anxiety or depression, it goes a lot deeper than, just deeper than you just being able to think logically and go, oh, I've got some stuff to be thankful for, therefore I should be good. I mean, it goes a lot deeper than that. I will start with anxiety for a minute. Now that I've been alive for 49 years and looking back on my entire life, I realized that I suffered from anxiety my entire life. And I do use the word suffered because it impacted my daily life, like throughout the years. I did not know that I actually had clinical anxiety until I was 40. I don't want to get too long in detail on the story, but I entered a marriage and it was nothing that I thought it was going to be, and it was extremely stressful, and it was it just that basically what majorly jump started an intense amount of anxiety. I felt like there was a loss of all hope and there was no way out of um, the life situation that I was in. And so when I was 40, the point which I realized I had anxiety, and if anyone who's watching this has had it before, you'll be able to relate to me. My wife and my child had left the house to go eat at Burger King, and I stayed home, and I was already feeling kind of isolated that day, and I was already going to a room by myself just to escape everything. Um, and I started walking around the house, and I looked out the front door, and I was watching kids play and stuff, and I was like, and then I watched them play, and then all of a sudden I had this weird feeling come over my mind, and I don't know what I felt, just something felt weird. And then I was like, wow, I don't feel right. And then I started walking down the hallway, and then I started feeling more and more weird. And then it's like my legs suddenly kind of felt real weak. And then all of a sudden I felt like a tingling through my whole body. And then the best way I could describe it was like, imagine if you had an injection full of ice cold water, and someone just injected ice cold water in the top of your shoulders, and that ice cold water went all the way through your veins, and as it went further through your veins, you felt that intense coldness going through your blood. That's what it felt like. My whole inside felt really cold and freezing and vibrating. And since I had never had a panic attack in my life, I didn't know that that's what was happening. And my brain instantly started thinking, okay, this is either a stroke, or maybe I'm having a heart attack. Maybe I had a heart condition I didn't know about. Or maybe somehow, somewhere, I got some poison into my body. Whether it was from food or something I touched or what, I was like, my brain kept thinking it's one of those three things. stroke, heart attack, or poison. But I was like, I'm about to die right now. I was 40. I was like, I'm getting ready to die in the next few minutes at age 40, and I don't know why, and I'm scared, and I'm scared what's on the other side once I die. Even though I believe in God, but it's still a frightening concept that I may be dead in a minute. And I was like, oh crap, what do I do? And then I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm still breathing, and I better go ahead and call the ambulance while I can still dial a phone. So I called 911, and the ambulance took me there, and they basically misdiagnosed me. They tried to tell me I had some kind of virus. So I got a misdiagnosis for all the trouble it was worth and all the money it costed me. And then for the next couple of months, I kept having all these weird symptoms pop up. Kept thinking about death a lot. Oh, what if I suddenly die right now? And I kept thinking about, at the time my child was like almost 4, and I kept thinking, well, what if I suddenly pass out when me and her are out together, and she wanders off, and no one knows that she's with me, and I'm not, no one's able to explain what happened. And I kept having this fear, and I would be walking through a store, and then all of a sudden I would feel a panic attack start to come on. And it was just a really weird feeling. One time I was eating in a restaurant, and a panic attack came on, and it made my entire body so amazingly tired that I was like, I think I'm getting ready to pass out right now. As I sit in this restaurant booth, I'm like, I can barely keep myself conscious. I'm getting ready to pass out. So it's like, you can explain it all you want, but if a person has never had anxiety, explaining it doesn't do enough. But just to say that it is real, and has nothing to do with attention whatsoever. Um, and with anxiety, you constantly worry about something that's not an absolute imminent condition. Like, let's say you got an electric bill that's going to be turned off in 2 days, but you don't have the money. Okay, that's you legitimately worrying about something that is real. But people who suffer from anxiety, they worry about all kinds of what ifs. Well, this could happen and that could happen. So you dedicate so much time worrying about what ifs, about all the potential negative things that could happen, even though there may be no reason to believe that something is going to happen. Your mind starts to focus on the negative of everything. And it's not that you're built to be a negative person. It's just, it just, it happens and you don't know why. Um, and my anxiety is can fluctuate based on my status and situation in life at that particular moment. It ain't like if everything's going fine, I'm hanging out with people, I'm talking, things are good financially. It ain't like if everything's going fine, my anxiety is super intense. It does go heavier or lower depending on the life situation. And currently, anxiety and depression are very minimal with me now, and they've been minimal for about a year. Um, but it Anxiety has been a situation for me my entire life. I could feel intense signs of anxiety when I was 6 or 7, when I saw how other 6 or 7 year olds reacted to situations that were around me doing the same thing. Like other kids would feel totally comfortable, and I would realize that I was very uneasy. But why were the other kids? None of them were uneasy about it. They was all comfortable. Um, and then That's anxiety, the best I could explain it in my own personal experience. A depression, one of the best ways I could define depression is, I could kind of sum it up for me as the lack of hope. When your brain sees no more hope, it sees no way out of a situation you're in. It sees no purpose in life, no goal that you're able to reach for. When it sees that there just appears to be no more hope, then your brain reaches a state where it says, okay, there's nothing positive will happen again. There's nothing but hopelessness. That is what brings on depression for a lot of people. My intense anxiety with my marriage, and knowing that I had married the wrong person, had a child with the wrong person, and I was being isolated by my spouse, and there was mental abuse and anxiety about, what have I done, and there's no hope out of the situation. Um, the anxiety brought on, that turned to depression. Now, if you think anxiety is bad, depression is like three times what anxiety is. Because depression, when your brain has the overall mentality that all hope is lost, that is a dangerous thing. That is a desperate thing. And depression will take, it's weird how powerful your mind is. Like your mind can truly affect physical changes in your body. And there's a debate over that. Like, can the mind make things physical happen? You know, you cut yourself, you're bleeding, that's physical. But a lot of experts believe that the mind can actually make physical illnesses and physical changes in your body, and I am fully convinced of that. When I would get heavily depressed, my entire body, my entire core and being at times would become so amazingly weak that I did not have the strength or the desire or the motivation to do anything. Like we would be walking in a store, and just the effort that you would have to put forth to walk through a store, I was just like, I can't do this. And I would grab a shopping cart, and I would make sure I was the one grabbing the shopping cart so I could lean on it so it could help support my weight. And I've lifted weights my whole life. I've been strong my whole life, but it was just the fact that my brain being so worn out and felt so much hopelessness that it did something chemically to my body, and it made my body so worn out that simply walking through a store was too much of a task. And then you feel like there's no hope whatsoever, and it's like you'll wake up in the morning and your brain will be like, well, there's really no reason to get up. There's no reason to get out of bed. Why? Nothing good is going to happen today. Nothing special is going to happen today. And then so you just bury yourself. You just bury yourself under a blanket, and it's like that's the only thing you can do. You got to stay alive. You got to breathe, but you don't want to do nothing. You don't want to see no one. You don't want to hear nothing. So you go in your room and you isolate and you bury in your bed, and all you do is rest. And sometimes the more you rest, the more you have to rest. And then you reach a point where you just feel like you can't get up at all. You start avoiding everyone's calls. You start avoiding interaction with everyone. A part of you, like, you want someone to be with you. You want someone to talk to you. You don't want to feel alone. You like, it's like a part of you needs people and wish that there was someone there to comfort you. But then the other part of you, even though you need someone to help you and comfort you, you intentionally isolate because your brain is just so, your brain is so hurt and hopeless. You try to shut out the whole world. So people that don't understand, when you have depression, they're like, I call them, I text them, I invite them out. They don't come out. They don't want to do nothing. And they think it's like about you not wanting to be with people. And it's like, it's not that you don't want to be around people. It's a part of your brain. It's like a safety measure. You shut down from the whole world. You box yourself in, and it's almost like your own little safety zone, and you isolate yourself. And you will, it's very common when a person has depression, you will avoid contact with everyone. You know, when I was on my heaviest bouts of depression, people would call me. I absolutely would not answer the phone. They would text me. I absolutely would not answer the phone. I'd stay in my room. Didn't want to go anywhere. Didn't want to do anything. And it's all brought about from a lack of hopelessness in your mind. And I've learned now that nothing is permanent. So when you're having fun on a given day and you're doing something really cool that you like, that period where it's fun and great, like that's not permanent. But I've also learned to say that when something negative is happening, that's never permanent either. Your negative moment could last for an hour or an entire day, an entire week. It could last for a year. And for me, it was a good 10 years or longer. But I've learned to tell myself, even though the negative times, you know, the positive times are not permanent and don't last, the negatives are not permanent and don't last. So I've told myself, when there's a negative moment and that ends, get over it, be done with it. And I've learned to appreciate every little positive moment and positive thing that happens. Like if one moment I'm watching a documentary on TV that I really like and it's caught my attention, I'm like, right now, this is a little positive moment. This is the moments that we cherish. Something positive is happening. Appreciate it. Make the most out of it. If I'm walking around the store and I'm feeling in a good mood and I got my daughter with me, I'm like, this is a positive moment. Soak it in. Let it last. And then every time a negative moment happens, it's like I said, it may be a negative moment that lasts an hour, a couple of days, or whatever. But I tell myself this is never ever permanent. And just realize in your brain you have negative times and you have positive times. Once you can really let that sink in and really learn to appreciate every little positive moment you had and appreciate it because you know that those positive moments are temporary also. Once you can truly learn to appreciate those and appreciate the little things, I think that helps too. And I think depression is a lot of times based on a situation that's going on with a person. Like, I'm not an expert or anything like that. I just know it from my personal experience. Depression don't stick with me all the time, day by day, my whole life. It's the more hopeless seem, the more hopeless things seem, then the more depression kicks in. Um, because of my lifelong history of anxiety, my brain has this fear of not being in control of a situation, whether it be safety, like someone trying to attack me, or whether it be losing all my finances. I've had this whole mentality my whole life of what if this happens, what if that happens. And in one sense, a lifelong time of anxiety has helped me prepare for things. It always helps me say, oh, you better make sure your bank account ain't empty because what if this? Oh, you better make sure you're strong because what if this or that? And so, in a sense, anxiety has given me some positive things because it always makes me want to be prepared uh, against any negative things. Trying to gain my track of thought. But yeah, so that's my experience in depression and anxiety. But you got to tell yourself that every day that you're awake, alive, and you're above ground, there's still hope. But like, no matter how bad it gets, no matter how bad it gets, I've been there before. I'm not someone preaching a person who's just throwing some bumper sticker phrase. I'm not someone who doesn't know what you're going through. I'm not going to be someone who's just going to say, oh, cheer up, camper. You got your health. Put on your big boy, big girl pants. You just need to be thankful for what you got. I'm not going to someone who's just going to give you those bumper sticker phrases and assume that you're going to go, oh, now I'm good now. I never thought about just being positive because people did that to me. But what I'm going to tell you is it is not permanent. Every time you have a positive moment, whether it lasts for 10 minutes or an entire day or an entire weekend, soak it up, make the most of it. Anything in life can be changed, it can be altered, and it can be altered for the better. But what can't be altered is if a person reached a point of hopelessness where you've decided, okay, there's no more hope, I got to end it all. Once you end it, once you take your life, you can never, ever reverse that. Like, you get one shot at it, there's no redos. It's not Mario Brothers, add 3 more lives. Once you take your life, it's one and done. There is no turning back. Okay, so that's the one option you don't have. Every day that you're still breathing and alive, then there is still some form of hope, even though it doesn't seem like there's a form of hope now. Okay? So just learn to appreciate the little things. Whatever it is that makes you content, appreciate it. If it's music, go in a corner, play music you like. If it's a warm, sunny day, go sit in your backyard, grab a glass of tea that you like. Feel the sun soaking on your body. If it's appreciation of your child and making them happy, get them a gift to make their face smile. It's just like whatever it is, appreciate that moment by moment. And like I said, the one option you don't have is don't take your life, because that's the one option that there's no turning back from. Any other negative things that happen in your life, it can be undone. So I just wish him the best for everyone. This is Eagle Al. Thanks for watching.